I'm going to do some cleanup in the studio tonight. I've already made some progress here. We can see the floor again. And now I want to focus on these cabinets. The bottom ones and then maybe the top one, depending on how much progress we make tonight and how quickly it goes. I'm going to turn the ceiling fan on here. Hopefully it doesn't make too much noise. It's 14 degrees out and it is freezing in here. It's only 68 degrees and most of the heat is accumulating on the ceiling. And I'm going to be sitting on the floor, so we need to push that heat back down. There's the ceiling fan. So when I designed these cabinets, we need some more light in here. There we go. When I installed these cabinets, the intention was to have frequently used tools and stuff that I use for recording videos inside these cabinets, organized, easy to access. So things like the vacuum that we use here on the bench, the kilowatt meters, the Variac, the air duster, etc. And maybe some tools like the soldering stuff. Actually, in that cabinet there's a Dremel stuff, some multimeters, air conditioner service stuff. And that's a lot of what's in here. I think the hot glue is in here as well. But there's also some things that, oh, this feels nice and warm coming down. There's also some things that just don't need to be in here, like there's a bag, no, not a bag, a box of vacuum parts and vacuum bags, which is something that I use on occasion, but not often enough that it needs to be in these cabinets here. And then the cabinet on the top, I'm pretty sure, is just full of junk, because it was an empty space to put things. And yeah, there's probably nothing in this cabinet that needs to be in here or that makes sense to be in here. There's some good equipment in here, actually, some things I'd like to make video of, but none of it that should be in here. This is eating up space that I can use for other ways that make a lot more sense. And speaking of things that make more sense, I need to do something else with these lights, because the way this is does not make any sense. I like to just kind of tack it up like that, maybe. Let's see if I can get that out of the way. Do I have... Tacks are a commodity right now. I've used every single one I have for the Christmas lights. Well, I generally don't believe in taping Christmas lights, but I am going to tape them out of desperation because I don't have any more tacks. This is not particularly strong tape either. This is not the correct way to do this. I have to say, at 14 degrees, this is still pushing out some pretty good heat. Alright, let's start at the bottom, because I think we can be a little more productive more quickly in the bottom. The top is, I'm going to have to do a lot of moving around. And a lot of stuff in the top that just doesn't need to be there. Okay, let's see, I'll put... It's going to be hard to keep everything in frame, because as soon as I open the door, you're not going to be able to see from the side. Actually, that's not too bad. Put it back here. I'm going to lay this stuff out on the floor. Alright, so we have, for starters, we have some binder clips. We have some more binder clips. We have some tape. And we have a 3-hole punch. And that needs to move, because in this other cabinet to the right we have tape, staples, and paper, and those are similar category items, so that needs to go somewhere else. We also have a remote for the Sharp air conditioner, which I know is in here, so I'm going to put it somewhere else that makes more sense and then never be able to find it again. We have a Tipsy LED tap light, which might be something interesting to make a video of. It does have 2032 batteries in it, so we should probably at least open it up and take those out. We have some packing paper, which I'm going to put with the other packing paper that I used for ceiling fan stuff. Okay, that's got a new home now. We have a lámpara de escritorio acabado blanco, and this should go somewhere else because this is not something that we're going to frequently access for making videos or working on equipment. This side up. What is this? Okay, this is more like office type material. So this should come out of this box so that we can better organize it and then put it with this stuff. So we have a calculator, which is the working, and it is actually solar. I guess the battery is dead, so we should open it up and take the battery out. We have a microfiber cloth that needs to be washed. And then we have a letter opener, some wire ties that are getting all over the place. I use these all the time, definitely put these somewhere handy. Ow! Oh no! I just jammed the back of my foot into the stool. Oh, I hope the stool is okay. I have a bucket here with this type of stuff in it and a capacitor. So I'll put this in here. Okay, that's not good anymore. As you can tell, this stuff has been sitting for some time. And there's that. I leave that just over here. Easy access. Okay. Next we have some magnifying glasses, which I don't usually need yet, but someday I will. So put those around the house when that day comes. Hopefully that day is far off. We have a chalkboard eraser. Ooh, look at this. We have some tacks. That's funny. All right, let's do something better with the Christmas lights then. Although the tape, in the tape's defense, it is holding. Oh gosh. Oh. The box must be kind of dusty in there. Alright, I'm just going to put a tack in the back of here. I don't want to put it in the bottom. I don't want holes in this thing. Or at least unnecessary holes. Good. I don't leave the tape there to annoy me later. Okay, what else have we got in here? We have some mockets. These are kind of cool. They are for putting, you stick this to a table and you can pass wires through it. It's a good cable management tool. Some Velcro ties, also good cable management. You have a bunch of these things for the, put on the prongs. Looks like maybe some for DisplayPort cords as well. Probably just cancel those out. They have no real use case to me. Got another mocket. We have some scissors. These are Fiskars scissors. They actually cut pretty good. Wow, they operate really smooth too. I got some good stuff in these cabinets. Okay, and we have some pencils. These are spooky pencils with eyes and pumpkins. We use this as the thumbnail. Make sure you actually watch the video as opposed to just click on it, type a comment, and then click off of it. Use your eyes for that task. Alright, we've got some various pens. These are probably very cheap. They have the branding of a local hospital on them. And yeah, these are all pens. We have more pens. These are probably okay. These have a more reputable brand name on them. Well, these also feel very cheap. I don't do a lot of writing in pen, but that's always good to have. And we have some gafting tape, which I seldom use, but is good to have. We have some business cards from Ricoh. Don't need that anymore. We have a giant binder clip, and we have a bunch of sticky notes, some of which are they have the branding of a local hospital on them. These probably came with the pens at some point. These are just really cheap, thin pads that they give out. Same thing with the pens. And then we have some sticky notes. These are Highland branded pop-up self-stick notes. So these are the ones that come up from alternating sides. I actually find these kind of annoying. I prefer the ones that all come up on the same side. Yeah, see this? Because now what happens is you have this on your table and you write a note on it, and then it's like a 50-50 as to whether or not you wrote on the top or on the bottom. There's some Band-Aids. So we could put those in the bathroom. There's a busted rubber band. And there are some alcohol prep pads, sterilely or medium, for hospital and home use settings. It claims that it expires in 2019. How the heck does a alcohol prep pad expire? What happens? I'll put those in the bathroom. I don't really believe in expiration dates. I think they're a lie. Here's some papers clips, which are kind of sticky. These are 100 smooth #1 papers clips. Oh, they're very, very small. Are they both the same? Yeah, they're both the same. And then we have some tape. Magic tape. Ooh, it's magic. 2 magic tapes. A good rubber band. And one of these Jiffy cutters. I like these. They work really good. I have these all around at the workbenches. Excellent knives. Alright, and that's pretty much all that's in here. Some kind of, not really sure what this is. Is it Velcro? Oh, it's just like some kind of thin foam pad with sticky peel and stick stuff on the other side. I'm not really sure what that is. Okay, so that's that. This is, a lot of this can go back in the cabinet here. I think it makes sense to have this stuff in there. Eventually, I wonder if I should go upstairs instead. No, I think it should go upstairs. I need to clean up some of the drawers upstairs, and then I can put this stuff upstairs. Because this is all like extra stock. This is not going to be accessed frequently. So maybe I will put all this stuff back in here and put it upstairs. This can stay down here, this tape thing. Can use that down here. The binder clips I mostly use upstairs. I don't do any bulk printing downstairs here. Yeah, I'm gonna put all this stuff upstairs. This can stay down here. This can stay down here. Put that upstairs. Put those upstairs. Actually, you know what? One of those could probably go in the garage. And these scissors, I think I'm going to keep down here because they actually work pretty good. This letter opener makes more sense upstairs. And this will keep down here. So then I'm going to push this over here and I'll put the rest of this stuff in there as well. And bring it all upstairs, including that. Okay, so that's all going to go upstairs. What's this? This is telephone cords and one extension cord. That doesn't belong in here. And this doesn't belong. I've been looking for one of these. I needed one for something. Now I found it. We'll need these as we expand more telephone lines. These are Ethernet pairs. These should not be in the telephone. That's a telephone one. That's an Ethernet one. And that's an Ethernet one. Telephone, telephone, telephone. That's a very handy contraption. Okay, so that's all telephone wires. Those are Ethernet. Those go upstairs. This goes somewhere else. All right. That's a handset cord. That should probably go in somewhere else as well. So this, I think this makes sense to keep in here because we test telephones all the time. Although it kind of doesn't make sense because I already have a telephone cord up here that I use for testing, and then I can just keep like an extra one behind the setup. I would never need this many phone cords during testing. So, okay, on second thought, we're not going to put that there. We're going to put that somewhere else. I'll put that on the shelf with the telephone stuff. There's a bunch of phone cords on the bench behind me, or in those bins, that we'll put into there. And we'll find somewhere else for this to go. And that's that. Okay, so that's not going to be in here anymore. This, and this, and this should be in here. So we got to find the box for that stuff. Vacuum belts. Small extension cords. Those can stay in here. These are those stupid things that are for, like on those cheap Honeywell fans. This is what holds the blade on. So I bought a bunch of these so I don't have to worry about trying to reuse ones. It just doesn't make any sense for what they cost. So we got that. That can stay in here. We've got some washers. Thrust washers. That can stay in here. We've got some other thrust washers. These are fiber style. That can stay in here. This is a mix of things that should be in that other box, and some telephone repair stuff. I think that this can stay in here because I do use that fairly often. I want to bury that somewhere that's hard to get to. Okay, this is not going to stay in here because this is a point of annoyance. This doesn't fit in here. Duh. How stupid. This is telephone jacks. Philips telephone jack surface mount. I bought a whole bunch of these a couple of years ago, and these are what I use around the house. I got quite a few left in here that I need to install, but this is not a frequently accessed item, and therefore is not going back in this cabinet. And in fact, this, I'm going to change the contents in there a little bit, but that's going to go back in here. Okay, here's the vacuum parts I was talking about. Vacuum bags, belts, brush rolls to some of the models I use the most. Maybe an impeller or two for ORAC. Bunch of bags. I have a lot of bags in the hall closet, and then some of them are down here. It just doesn't make any sense. I think what I should probably do is get a smaller bag, a smaller box, and put the belts and stuff in there. Because that is something you want easily accessible, because that's like a breaks at the least convenient times type thing. So maybe, do I have, part of the problem is finding good boxes that fit inside these cabinets, because they're very shallow. Let me see if I have any other boxes on hand that'll fit in there. I might have one that fits upstairs. Let's try this one. This is a nice sturdy box. Came with some measuring cups came in here. Oh, that's a perfect fit. Okay, so let's take the vacuum belts out of this other box and put it into this box, and it can go back in the cabinet. Got some Orac, some Hoover, some Orac, some Sanitaire, some Kenmore, Kenless, Orac, Hoover, I think that's a Bissell. That's one of those little foam things for the Oryx. Knockoff HEPA filter for Kenmore. More Orac parts. Orac parts. Is that really all that was in there in terms of parts? These are all bags. Yeah, these should all just go in the hall closet with the rest of the bags. I think that would make the most sense. I saw some more. Yeah, here we go. There's some other vacuum bags there, or belt there. So this box is actually bigger than what we need. I have another box upstairs that somebody gave me recently. Let me see if this other box will fit it. This other box is much smaller. I want to use the space in this cabinet as efficiently as possible. This box is not all that much smaller, but it's smaller enough that it might be a better fit. And you gotta remove the information here. It has somebody's address on there. And let me get this open. I'm gonna use that one of those Jiffy cut knives. Okay, got the box open. Get the contents out of here. And let's see if this box is the right size. I think it'll fit everything. Not much here. Alright, so this needs to go away, go somewhere else. These I kind of wanted to hang on the wall somewhere just because they're cool, old school stuff. I'm sure these belts are no good anymore, probably dry rotted. Actually, they don't feel too bad. Oh, I just thought the packages were cool, that's why I grabbed them. This one's in good shape. We'll put that bag up somewhere on the wall. I don't know why I have so many of these things. I do have a lot of Oryx, but that's not a part that goes bad that often. This is a Hoover. Oh yeah, this will all fit in here, no problem. More Orac. Great vacuum. Okay. That's it. That's all the stuff that was there. Alright, so this is now, assuming this fits in here, It does. Perfect. This is now vacuum belts. And get a piece of paper here. We'll make a label. So call it vacuum parts because it's not exclusively belts. Okay, logical part number 1 in there. Oops. Here we go. Here's the extension cords. This is a good place for that and for that. And for that orange thing, wherever it went. Really? It disappeared already? Oh, this belongs in there too. What the heck? Oh, come on. I needed that too. Well, I'm not going to waste time on the video looking for that. I'll deal with that later. No idea where that went. Not in the slightest. Okay, now this has 2 boxes. This is 1 of 2, and the other one is 2 of 2. This has a lot of General Electric 9-foot cords in there. Wanted to use those at Christmas time, but couldn't find them. Now I know where they were. Probably because I had so much junk piled up in front of the shelves that I couldn't get to it. That's pathetic, but that's the way it was. Okay, so we can adjust the height on these shelves if needed, but these 2 boxes stack up pretty nicely like that. So we'll leave that alone. And then let's see. Will this go next to it like that? It will. And then maybe this can go on top of that like that. That's pretty good like that. And then maybe some small things to put on the side. Suppose that stuff can go there. And maybe this stuff can go there. These are some ceiling fan chains, various laptop parts, some screws, some point tracker thing, whatever it's called, and more pull fobs. Put all these things here, like that. Okay, that's reasonable. Ah, there's some more chain here. And some pull fobs, including some of the Hampton Bay. Well, maybe I'll put only the pull chain stuff here, so that all stays together. And then this stuff, that should go upstairs with the computers, I guess. Alright, that'll work. Okay. There's the cold glue over there. The cold glue should definitely stay in here. Well, that's pretty much the right height for the cold glue. Maybe this should not be in here and it should go somewhere else. That works pretty good too. That box could use a better label. It's not very visible. Has poor contrast. Ironically, I think this is the box for the cheesy hot air rework station. Okay, great. Now let's see what else we've got here. Okay, so over here we have the hot air reflow setting. And it makes sense to have him there. And then maybe I can put this other box of extension cords there. And then maybe some of the Dremel stuff can go in there instead of behind this cabinet, behind where the camera is. Yeah, that makes sense there. And I also have that accessory that can go in there. And this. Wow, look at that. Okay, that's good. Okay, now I gotta find something that'll fit on top of there. On the right side, starts to become a puzzle. So over here I have, oh, maybe the soldering stuff can go there. Yeah, I think that'll work. Not filling up quite all the way, but I think it's good enough. Oh, the heat pump is defrosting. It's getting colder in here almost instantaneously. I'm gonna put the, oh, here's that thing. These are super handy. Put that in there, and I'll put that in there. Alright, and this cabinet is just about full. Maybe I'll also put these in there. Okay. Alright, we'll call that one full. So now let's move over to the next one. Here's the lawnmower blade balancer. That should go in the garage. It's not going to be used in here. I have my vacuum pump in here, which we're going to put somewhere else. I don't use that too often. And this is just a cheesy one, but it's good enough for hobby stuff. Put that in place of where the Dremel was, because that is used less frequently. Okay, good. Now we have this, which I take when I travel. It's nice to have if you, for instance, if you get a ceiling fan at a thrift store and it's assembled for some reason, you can use this to take it apart. So I put this in the car when I'm going on a trip somewhere. It's got most of the basic stuff you need, and it's surprisingly decent. It's got a nice handle to the screwdriver. I actually bought this at a thrift store once for that reason, and it's a pretty good little kit. I like it. Okay. So stick that in there as well. Okay, now the zip ties, I think I'm going to keep in here because I do use those on occasion. Do I have any more of these? I might have some of these wood pieces over here. I want to add another shelf. Let's see if I have any. Pretty sure I do. I have two different lengths over here. Hopefully this is the longer one, I think. Now what I don't have is those little tabs you need to secure it in place. Maybe I can use a screw or something, but before I bother with that, let me make sure that this is even the right size. There's several different cabinets that this could potentially go to. I feel like I had extra of those tabs somewhere. I cannot remember where. Yeah, that's the right size unit. So, just need to see if I can get some of those tabs. Can't remember where I saw them. Well, I can't do anything about that right now. That'll have to be for another time. Okay, so also to go upstairs, we have some staples. We have a lifetime supply of magical tape. Have some non-magical tape. And we have some note-taking paper. That will all go upstairs. Alright, in here we have some Velcro straps, very handy. And we have a bunch of, it looks like a Christmas decoration piece in there. We have a bunch of loose wire ties. And we have a lot of wire ties. These are multi-purpose nylon zip ties. 50 pounds. They're 24-inch bag of 200. And this is
also a bag of 200, 12 inch. So this is the same thing as this. And then this is 11 inch 500 pack. And these are little things for sticking to the table, and you can pass the zip tie through it and hold something in place, preferably not a wire. There's 100 of those in there. And I think I'm going to put this bag, since it's self-contained, in there. I think I'm going to put this bag in here as well, so it will stay separate. And that will be all of our zip ties. So now I want to have a short shelf on the top where I can slip those in. And maybe I can put some of this other stuff as well, but I'm kind of at a standstill until I find those tabs. Maybe I saw them in the kitchen. I'm gonna go do some research. I found 2 of them in the garage, which is kind of odd because these are used in sections of 4, so why would I have only 2? I don't know, but that's the only thing I could come up with. So we're kind of at a bit of a standstill here. I thought about using screws instead, but I don't know if that would damage the holes, so I really just need to go and get the correct thing. But in concept, that goes in there like that, and this goes in here like this, and then now it's stuck. Maybe I can balance it on 2 just so we can kind of get the height concept established, and then I'll go to store tomorrow and see if I can find some new ones. They're probably not expensive. So that's the height that I think I'm going to want. And then I can put stuff like zip ties on there. Maybe. Oh, that's too long, isn't it? It does like that. And then I can put some other things like all these. Oh, that I wanted to go over there. Put these things for the ceiling fan, the chains there. I gotta get some more weight in the back of the shelf. Can put that there. Put the 3733 parts, one of the most important things down here. And then put some more of the cable management stuff, or maybe these smaller ones put in this box down here. Like that. Okay, that'll have to go on top of something else. The pegboard tools. Not a frequently used item. All right, what else do I want to put in here? I want to put in the electric duster. This is frequently used in here. So we'll adjust this shelf to the height of that duster thing. That's probably the tallest item we're going to put in here. So it just goes up 2 notches. Okay, that has been successfully adjusted. A calculator. And now I am stuck. So let's also put the Variac in there. That's frequently used during testing. And then let's also put that heater in there, which I have to use frequently for dealing with the irremovable OK Will stickers. That's a pretty good assortment of things in there for now. And then on the bottom, I think that's a box of capacitors. So this is the Craftmade Piccolo white blades. Those are rare as can be. That's why they're in this cabinet here, to prevent anything from ever happening to those things. Oops. These are Stacko 171s for ceiling fan setups. And this is capacitors and horrible ceiling fan wall controls. And some bearings. So I really need to get a centralized place for bearings. I have a bunch of different sizes here. There's some of the ones in here. We have these bearings. We have some in the garage. What is this? That's for the pegboard tools as well. Okay. So I think this should go somewhere else. These are some parts. That has a space in the garage. That has a space in the garage. Yeah, there's a lot of ceiling fan capacitors. Put that somewhere else. The pullers, the bearing pullers. That is a frequently used item in here. Maybe I'll put these in here instead of those zip ties. Can't do both. This is our light bulb testing thing. Yeah, put that on top of the bearing pullers. That's good. Okay. That's pretty decent. Here's some piercing valves. These work very well. I've used these a couple times now. I think I'm going to put these over here with my vacuum pump. Makes sense. Those two things are often used together. I'd like to put the vacuum in here. This little canister vacuum that I use down here. It's not the best use of the space because the shelf could be a lot shorter, but I think we'll go with that for now, and I'll slip these in between here. Yeah, put that like that for now. Alright, that's pretty reasonable. So over here we have a piece of carpet, which I don't need anymore. I used to put this down on a bench before I got the carpet put in place. Now we can use that for something else. Put it on the floor somewhere. And let's see here, what else should we have in here? We almost free up an entire shelf here. Let's see what other items I might want to put in here. You know what I have upstairs I might want to put in there? A document camera. I don't know if this thing is going to work well for taking videos, but I think for certain videos it might work. So let me grab that document camera and we'll put that in there. I think it's up here in the media room somewhere. Yeah, here it is. This is a Samsung document camera. And this may or may not work out, I don't know, but it's worth a shot. Very handy, I think it does, for filming certain types of work on the bench. Here is said camera. So this could potentially even maybe go this doesn't adjust at all. How could that be? Seriously? Well, it may not be worth the space in the cabinet then. Okay. Huh. Well, maybe we'll scratch that. I thought it would collapse a little bit more, but it doesn't. Well, I think we're going to call it there for the night. See if I can slip these thrust washers in here somewhere. Yep, right on top. Perfect. Alright, so those two cabinets on the left are full of things that I would use on a regular basis while working on stuff here at the bench. And then the cabinet on the right is now empty, and we'll have to figure out what things make sense to put in there. I don't know, maybe I'll put the vacuum bags back in there. I mean, I don't use them that much, but I'm not really sure what else I want to put in there. Those are the main items that I wanted in that cabinet. Alright, well, we'll pick up tomorrow. We'll go to the store. We'll get some, hopefully find those things at the hardware store. And then I can secure that shelf properly. And then we'll figure out what to put in the other last remaining cabinet.